Good morning and welcome to today's Board of Commissioners meeting. This morning, we will have an invocation brought by Pastor Courtney Harkness of Cumberland Community Church, followed by the pledge, which will be brought by Sergeant Monica Bryant. If you are willing and able, please stand for our invocation.
Dear sir, we pause for just a moment, dear God, before we get busy with our work and our day and the things on our agenda, dear God. We pause before you to acknowledge that you are the source of all that is good. We invite you, dear God, into this session to lead us into that good. Thank you, dear God, for the leaders that you have gathered, God, that you have chosen to administer your heart's desire in our community. We place our trust in them, dear God, to follow, to lead, to support us, dear God, to lead us into that good. We thank you for them, dear God. And I thank you, dear God, that you would grant them wisdom, give them courage, dear God, give them compassion to represent your people, dear God. I thank you, Lord, that they would be, as the scriptures describe, leaders who understood the times and who knew what to do. Thank you for that, dear sir. I pray, Lord, that you would grant supernatural solutions, that you would place them in their hands, dear God, right here today, right now, dear God, that they would administer justice, that they would inspire hope, that they would relieve suffering, dear God, that they would cultivate love right here in our community for your glory. God, we trust you to do that. And I thank you, dear Lord, that your grace would be here and that they would lead us forward in this county, dear God, and that Cobb County would rise before you as a sweet and pleasing aroma, dear God, and that you would give your declaration on what we do here, that it is good. We trust you with that, Lord. It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Harkness and Sergeant Bryant, for the invocation and pledge today. This meeting is now called to order. At the top of each meeting this year, we have had an update provided by Cobb Douglas Public Health to advise us with respect to COVID-19. Here with us, we typically have had this virtually, but we are honored to have here our Director of Public Health, Dr. Memark, for our update. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I know a lot of people are very confused that I'm here today, so go ahead and we can get started. I'll give you your update for today. All right, so what we're looking at, so you look at the curve on the right and then our cases that we have. So we're going in the right direction. We have 171 cases per 100,000 right now, and that is definitely a good sign. But remember, it is still over what's considered high transmission, which is 100 per 100,000. So we are still almost double. So we're not clear, but we are heading in the right direction, and hospitalizations also support this. Next slide, please. When we look at positivity rate, this is also, we use a few different data points in conjunction with each other to know kind of the state of our COVID pandemic. And so right now we have a 3.2% positivity rate, which is excellent. So remember, we want that under 5, and we really start getting concerned when it gets closer to 10%. This is only the PCR numbers, but it's still very helpful for us to know. It's kind of a barometer of what's happening. Next slide, please. We continue to see deaths that trickle in, and so our most vulnerable still continue to succumb to this virus. So we're up to 1,053 deaths have been confirmed and presumed from COVID-19. Next slide, please. This is one of the topics I just want to touch upon briefly is the variants. I've talked about this before, but we continue to see the rise in the variants that we have throughout the country and throughout the state. If you look at that kind of yellowish mustard-colored bar, that's the B117 variant. That's the one that originated in the UK. You can see from January up until just last month how that has increased. And so this is not the only one. We have we have a lot of variants you can see on the right, but we have multiple ones that we're concerned about. There's the one from New York and the one from California as well. Now the one from India has also risen to a variant of concern at this point. So it continues, so you'll see in the country, it's about almost 60% of the specimens that are turned in are coming back as B117. When we look at Georgia, it's even more than that. That was about a month ago of data that we've seen. It was at 65%. This is a more contagious variant and sometimes thought to be more virulent. So it is beneath our feet. They are gaining ground. So it's very important that we do not just give up on what we're doing at this point because we made a lot of progress. Next slide. This is kind of throughout the country. You can see the different variants, and number 4 is where Georgia is, and you can see that B117 and the percentage that it's representing. So we definitely have a big problem back here in the southeast. Next slide, please. This is just reiterating where we're at. We're still at high transmission in the state of Georgia and also with Cobb County. So we need to continue to fight back this pandemic. And you still have to get tested if you have symptoms or come in contact. If you're not, especially if you're not vaccinated. We are still seeing outbreaks. We're still seeing them in the schools, and we're still seeing them in businesses and in different places. So it is definitely not gone yet. Next slide, please. You can continue to get tested for free at Mako at Jim Miller Park. Your insurance will be charged if you have insurance. Otherwise, you don't have to pay out of pocket. This is the main site that we have that's offering free safety net testing, and there are many other private providers. But just in case you needed a free option, this is the one we have. Next slide, please. Here, let's talk a little bit about vaccinations. And so you can see the state of Georgia has 36% that had the first dose and 28% are fully vaccinated. We give a big shout out to Cobb County that we have 39% of the first dose and 30% fully vaccinated. So that's great. We're ahead of the state, and we're ahead of the metro as well when we look at vaccination rates. But 30% is still not enough. And so we do have to continue to. Yesterday, you might have heard that 12 to 15-year-olds are now approved for the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. So we are offering that right away, immediately at all vaccine sites. So we have to keep going with this. Next slide, please. Here's just some of the benefits, things that you can do. You can go to church with your vaccination and feel safer, and just make sure you wear your mask. You can go indoor dining. You can gather with friends, even some friends that are unvaccinated. But it's much, much safer if you get your vaccine, and you're putting less people at risk as well. Next slide, please. You can get all kinds of appointments all over the metro and the state. You can just walk up to our Jim Miller and Arbor Place Mall sites and get vaccinated. Next slide, please. And so here's Jim Miller and Arbor Place. Next slide. And we do have the core option too. So this is more of a little bit of outreach. They're going to different sites. So you can go, and if there's something closer to you, you can go to them and get your vaccine there as well. So here's the schedule for this week, and then we can provide these if anybody needs them. And then next slide. Here's this is our outreach team. Very busy. They go out to different places. You can see them at the Zone. You can see them at St. Thomas Cathedral, Kenyon American Church. So different places that you can get vaccinated. And we're trying to get more into communities that are harder to reach and provide a little bit closer vaccination services. Next slide, please. And you can call the call center. There's going to be lots of questions, and so you can call and get your appointment there or ask questions of them about COVID. Next slide. There is the Lyft and United Way. I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that you can dial 211 and you can get a free transportation to a vaccine site. So that's kind of exciting. They also have a lot of other things that they offer, and COVID has really taken a toll on our community. You can get anywhere from counseling to help with rent and housing, and you can also just dial 211 to get an appointment to vaccine services. Thank you. Next slide. So the takeaway here is that we we continue to have variants that are really rising beneath our feet. The Indian variant that originated there is in the United States as well, and you all see what's happening in India right now. We still have a lot of cases, and a very large number of variants are coming through. The concern here is that we need to, we've all talked about herd immunity and about getting vaccinated. 30% is not high enough. If we continue and we let the virus simmer beneath us and have outbreaks and continue to kind of let it go, that's breeding ground to have a new mutant that will come out, or a new variant. And so the one thing we don't want is we don't want to have a variant that is resistant to the vaccine. Then we're in a lot of trouble. So the vaccine is very safe, and we just all need to get vaccinated. There's a new study that came out that's showing that transplant patients are not mounting a response to the vaccine. And so that's important. This is a group of patients that are immunosuppressed that cannot mount a response and be protected by the vaccine. So it's our job as a community to protect the most vulnerable of folks. So it's our young, our sick, and those that cannot get any protection from this vaccine. So we need to do it together and protect everybody. So please get your vaccine as soon as you can. Don't wait. And a lot of people are waiting and saying, I had COVID, it's fine. You can get COVID, and the immunity will not last forever. So get your vaccine. You can get it soon after you recover from COVID-19. So please, we're almost there. Let's all get our vaccines, and we'll get to the finish line on this. Thank you. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Very
Sorry, I should be
good.
addressing you instead of...
No, please, the public is who we want to have the information. Commissioners, do any of you have any questions this morning? I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
The percent vaccinated, is that of the eligible population that can be vaccinated, or is that the total population?
Actually, it's a great question. It's actually the total population, and
Okay.
so when you go deeper into those data slides, you'll see that of the more of the population that we have, if you look at like the elderly population, you'll see much higher rates of vaccination, and then it'll trickle down. And so that is a great question.
Very good. Thank you. We appreciate
very
having
welcome.
you here today, and I believe I saw Lisa Crossman here. Thank you for being here today, and appreciate the update.
Thank you. Appreciate all your help.
Thank you. With that, we have 6 additional presentations this morning. I will provide the first 4 of those, and the rest will be followed by 2 other commissioners. So we'll get started with those. First up, if I can have our water professionals join me. Good morning. Good to see you. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. We are fortunate to have a strong team of professionals that do work within our water department here, and we wanted to take opportunity to recognize them because the first Monday in May is Water Professionals Appreciation Day in Georgia. Designated to recognize water professionals, including plant operators, meter readers, customer service representatives, inspectors, equipment operators, instrumentation technicians, utility workers, lab analysts, project managers, educators, and engineers. And water professionals, they provide critical services that are often taken for granted. You don't realize that many people are behind that resource you're able to get out of your tap every day. But they are critical to virtually everything that we do. And over 400 water professionals are working across Cobb County to provide safe, reliable drinking water and to protect and manage our water resources. And Cobb's water professionals work 24/7 to properly treat our wastewater, work to reduce the volume and velocity of stormwater, to manage flood risk and prevent storm damage. They also oversee and prevent pollution to 3,200 miles of waterways. As water is an essential service, some employees continue to work through the COVID-19 Emergency Limited Operation Services, maintaining uninterrupted drinking water distribution, wastewater collection and treatment, and stormwater management services throughout the pandemic. Today, we honor all of our water professionals here in Cobb County. This, the 11th day of May 2021. Thank you for all you do. This is for you. Thank you. Grab that
Thank you so much for taking time to recognize our staff. I just would like to introduce that we have Carolyn from Customer Service, Aaron from our laboratory, Miguel from one of our wastewater treatment plants, Glenn Oliver from our Stormwater Division, and we have Harcourt Miguel is from System Maintenance, and we have Harcourt from one of our wastewater treatment plants. And they are just a sample of the very hardworking staff that we have, and the various different things that we do to provide water, wastewater, and stormwater services to the citizens of Cobb. We are very proud to be water professionals, and we are very proud of the services that we provide to our citizens.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all you do every day. Thank you. We're going to line up here and take a picture for our staff here. Come on in. We'll come on in the middle. Thank you so much for being here today. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Next up, if we can have all of those here with our audit division. Good morning. Good to see you. Good, how are you? Good, good. Good morning, ladies. Please come up here. May is a busy month. May is also International Audit Awareness Month. Internal auditing is a vital part of strengthening public and private sector organizations and protecting our stakeholders. This important function helps Cobb County identify and manage risks and ensure the appropriate policies, procedures, and controls are in place. Internal auditing is an increasingly sophisticated and complex activity requiring specialized knowledge, training, and education. The Institute of Internal Auditors is the profession's most widely recognized advocate, educator, and provider of standards, guidance, and certifications. In 2021, the organization celebrates its 80th anniversary. We proclaim May as International Internal Audit Awareness Month in Cobb County. We congratulate the Institute of Internal Auditors on its 80th anniversary and the organization's Atlanta chapter on celebrating 72 years. We thank our internal auditors for contributing to Cobb County's success every day. Thank you. Thank you. This is for you.
Sure. First of all, Madam Chair, thank you, Commissioners, County Manager, definitely our staff, our current staff. We have Erica Brooks-Peters and Tanai Francois Arneson here. They're our senior auditors. We're thankful and grateful to all the support that we get, not just from our audit committee, but from the Atlanta chapter, but mostly from our business partners, you, our clients. We appreciate you working with us, even when it's not fun. We still appreciate all your support. And we invite you to stop by our open house. We have open house right in Suite 250 today from 9 to 1. Feel free to stop by. Thank you again.
Very good. Thank you. All right, we're going to come here for a picture. Yep, come on, ladies. All right, thank you. You're welcome. All right, if I can have the ladies of the Marietta Roswell Alumni Chapter join me up front. Good to see you. When I put on my red, white, and black, you must have been speaking to me in my sleep today and said I had to come and represent. But good to see you here. Representing my office every day from this chapter is also my Chief Assistant, Vanessa Drayton, as well. I wanted to make sure I acknowledge her. Chartered in February 1986, the Marietta Roswell Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated has championed community service in Cobb County for 3.5 decades. Members will celebrate their 35th chapter anniversary during a virtual gala on May 22, 2021. Delta Sigma Theta sorority's motto of scholarship, sisterhood, service helps guide the chapter's initiatives. Over the years, more than $700,000 in college scholarships have been awarded to serving men and women from various socioeconomic backgrounds. Each year, chapter members inspire and educate our youth during events such as the Teen Forum, the Biennial Debutante Cotillion, the award-winning Delta Gems, or Growing and Empowering Myself Successfully, and Delta Academy programs. The alumni chapter helps hands-on community outreach efforts, including clothing and food for women, children and families living in domestic violence shelters, and human trafficking safe havens or temporary housing. Members also provide services and essential items such as computers, printers, vouchers for GED programs to more than 30 local organizations. Today, we honor the Marietta Roswell Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated for 35 years of service. We thank chapter members for their countless contributions to our community. Thank you so much for all you do. This is for you. Would you like to share some words?
Good morning. Thank you so much. I'm Laurie Reed. I serve as the president of the Marietta Roswell Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, and with me is Tanya Bird, who serves as our first vice president. We are honored, and thank you so much, Commissioner Cupid, for this honor. We appreciate it. We have been in this community, as we stated, for over 35 years. We consider it being part of the fabric of this community, and we appreciate the honor, and we'll continue to serve in this capacity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we'll line up here. We'll get a picture. Are we going to tilt that forward so we can? Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for being with us today. All righty, and those who are here to recognize May as Mental Health Month, please join me up front. Good morning, Melissa. Good to see you. You doing all right? Pardon? Hi, Rodney. Thanks for being with us. May is Mental Health Month, but I cannot think of a more critical time for us to address this topic. Our mental health is sometimes overlooked, but it is vital to everyone's overall health and well-being. It is also essential to the social and economic prosperity of families, communities, and businesses in Cobb. We all face challenges in life that can impact our mental health, especially during an unprecedented pandemic. Some staggering stats. In the U.S., 1 in 5 adults experiences a mental health condition each year. 17% of our youth ages 6 through 17 experience a mental health disorder. About 2 in 5 people who are incarcerated have a history of mental illness. All people with mental health conditions deserve appropriate and accessible services. With effective treatment, they can recover and lead full and productive lives. Our healthcare providers, schools, government agencies, community organizations, and businesses share the burden of mental health problems. We can also share the responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention and treatment efforts. We proclaim May as Mental Health Month in Cobb, and we encourage everyone to increase awareness and understanding of mental health conditions and to take steps to protect their mental health. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate you being here, and if you can let our audience know who you are and why you're here today.
I'm Melissa O'Brien, and I am the Public Relations Specialist with Cobb County Community Services Board.
And I'm Rodney Moore. I'm the Executive Director for the Cobb County Community Services Board, and I would just like to thank Chairwoman Cupid and the Commissioners for understanding the importance of mental health recognition and helping us to fight the stigma associated with mental health with this declaration.
Thank you, we appreciate it. And I'll ad-lib a bit. As chairwoman, I get alerts on my desk about different events that occur in the county. And the events that I'm seeing, particularly as they pertain to suicides, is alarming. You just never know the condition of those around you. If there's ever a time to be thoughtful towards the fragile condition of those around you, it has got to be now during this pandemic. We have been going through this for over a year now. Many people are experiencing things that they would have never thought they would experience in trying to keep a roof over their head, to keep food on their table, and to keep their families together. When I read that proclamation and I saw ages as young as 6, our young children are being burdened, their families and their parents. So please, if there's anything we can do to be thoughtful and mindful of one another's condition, it is certainly now. Thank you. We'll go ahead and take a picture. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Brian. We will have our next proclamation provided by Commissioner Gambrell, designating May as Older Americans Month.
And if I can have our senior services staff up. Great, thank you for joining me. May is the Older Americans Month, so today I would like to deliver this proclamation. Every May, our nation observes Older Americans Month. The theme for 2021 is Communities of Strength. We celebrate the strength of older adults with special emphasis on the power of connection and engagement in building strong communities. Cobb County recognizes that our elder population represents our history and appreciates the legacy that they will leave us. They will continue to add to the legacy and help build strong connections for the future of our community. And Cobb Senior Services is committed to providing the quality of life programming to assist our senior population in our community. According to the 2020 census, the senior population for Cobb age 55 and over is more than 203,000 and is expected to double in the next few decades. It is my honor to recognize the month of May as Older Americans Month, the 11th day of May 2021. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi. Thank you, Commissioner Granberry, Chairwoman Cupid, and the rest of the board. I'll tell you who we have up here, and then I'll give you a little quick about Cobb Senior Services. So we have Kathy on that end, Amy, and Sandy, and of course our Director Tanks. We want to say thank you for recognizing Older Americans Month. This is actually a national recognition, and it's through the Administration on Community Living. So we at Cobb are doing some exciting things in the centers. For many of you, if you don't know, the centers are open now. We're full hours and fully staffed. So if you have people in your community, so if you're not an older adult, look around in your community. So Director Tanks, when I came on 2 years ago, his charge to me was not only to recognize people that come to the centers, but all older adults in the Cobb County area. So if you have friends that have mothers, fathers that are not part of senior services in Cobb County, reach out to us. We're open, call us. If you don't want to call us, go on the web. If you want to drop by, come by and see what we actually do. It's exciting. It's not what you think, it's exciting. Do y'all have anything? You want to share anything?
Next Thursday.
Oh, there you go, yes.
We would like to announce that in honor of Older Americans Month, next Thursday at 5 o'clock, Commissioner Jerica Richardson, DA Flynn Brody, and our own William Tanks are going to participate in the inaugural Chopped Cobb, and we encourage you to watch it on Cobb TV's YouTube channel and the Cobb Senior Services Facebook channel, and that's at 5 o'clock next Thursday in honor of older Americans. And they're cooking seafood gumbo and crawfish etouffee, correct? All right, so it's going to be a good time.
Thank you again.
All right, very good. Thank you. Our next presentation will be brought by both Commissioners Burrow and Commissioner Richardson to recognize Morgan Davis and Courtney Waybright for earning Eagle Scout rank in the inaugural class of female Eagle Scouts.
Good morning, everyone. Can I have Morgan and Courtney up and their families that are here? Today, Commissioner Richardson and I have the honor of presenting Eagle Scout Awards to the first two females in Cobb to accomplish this great feat. So I'm going to say a little bit about these two and their project, and then pass it on to them to tell us a little bit about how they got involved with the Boy Scouts and attained this high honor. So, with the Boy Scouts of America officially recognizing the inaugural class of female Eagle Scouts in and on Scouting's 111th birthday, February 8th, 2021, we are recognizing two female Eagle Scouts in Cobb County to recognize them for attaining this rank. This inaugural class of female Eagle Scouts is open to any girl who passed her Eagle Board of Review between October 1, 2020 and January 31st, 2021. Both girls, Morgan Davis and Courtney Waybright, attend the International Baccalaureate program at Campbell High School. And it's a magnet program that and was part of this inaugural class. So, for their projects, Morgan completed her Eagle Service project at American Legion Post 160 in Smyrna, Georgia. The project was requested and outlined by Post 160 Commander Wade Lineca as an improvement needed on site. Morgan led a team of youth and adult volunteers to install a 50-foot paver pathway for volunteers to safely walk from the parking area to the monument sign and flagpole on Concord Road in front of Post 160. The project also included landscaping enhancements around the monument sign and included a total of 304 hours of service to the community. And Courtney completed her Eagle Scout. This is Morgan and this is Courtney. Courtney completed her Eagle Service project at American Legion Post 160 in Smyrna as well. The project was requested and outlined by Post 160 Commander Wade Lineca as an improvement needed on site. Courtney enthusiastically accepted the opportunity to refresh the area around the fire pit and add seating for those participating in the flag retirement ceremonies or simply enjoying a rest overlooking Brinkley Park. So, and also Courtney's dad is one of our planning commissioners from Commissioner Richardson's district, and Cheryl, and you must be Miss Davis. Yes. Okay, I know you're proud of these girls, and I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about their projects and anything they want to say.
Well, we both kind of joined BSA kind of after we were in Girl Scouts. We actually met at a Girl Scout event. My brother's a scout and so is Courtney, so we were both very excited to join BSA. Our project timeline was very quick since we only had a short amount of time to do it in, but I'm really glad that we got to do it together, and I'm really glad we got to serve our community as trailblazers and that we get to be recognized by an all-female board. Do you have anything? All right.
Another first in Cobb County. You want to say anything, Courtney?
I don't really have anything.
You don't? Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say it's an incredible achievement to get Eagle Scout, and it's an incredible milestone for everyone to be the inaugural, females for Cobb County in that role, and just a real commitment to service. I was going to make the joke about your family is really committed to service, considering the wonderful work that Tony does on the Planning Commission. But thank you so much, and I know congratulations on the next steps beyond, as well, beyond Campbell High School. So give it a round for these girls and their families.
We will now move to the public hearing tab of our agenda, where we have 2 items. The public hearing agenda tab is not the public comment tab. So if you are here for public comment where you'll have 5 minutes to speak, that will be after these 2 items. Our first public hearing item is to conduct a public hearing to expend $100,000 or more to perform engineering design services for various projects in the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvements Program.
Good morning, Chairwoman and Commissioners.
Good morning, Director.
Thank you. Thank you for your time this morning. We have a request, the Department of Transportation, and would like to request that the Board of Commissioners conduct a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more to perform engineering design services for various projects in the 2016 SPLOST Transportation Improvement Program.
Very good. So with our public hearing, anyone can come up and speak to this matter for 3 minutes, and we'll take an unlimited number of speakers on this matter. If you would like to speak, you can just approach here at the middle. And we'll go ahead and open up this public hearing. Seeing that we have no speakers on this matter, we will go ahead and close this public hearing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Director. Our next public hearing will be brought by Parks. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, Madam County Manager. I would like to request that the Board of Commissioners conduct a public hearing prior to expending more than $100,000 for Parks Program Management Services to include the 2022 Parks SPLOST Program, remaining projects under the 2011 and 2016 Parks SPLOST programs, and limited general engineering services for Parks Operations Capital Projects. The scope of this work includes program management services, pre-construction services, and construction management.
Very good. Similar to the last item, an unlimited number of speakers is able to address this item for 3 minutes max. I will go ahead and open up this public hearing. Seeing we have no one here for the public hearing, I'll declare this public hearing closed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director. We will now move to the public comment tab of this meeting. Bill, if you can let us know how many speakers we have.
Yes, Chairwoman. There are a total of 8 speakers that have signed up so far. We, of course, have 2 public speaking sections. We have one now for the first 6 speakers, then one near the end of the meeting for the remaining speakers. Each speaker has 5 minutes time limit, and the time is on the podium for them to be able to watch it. We'll let them know when their time is up as well. The first speaker is Jan Barton.
Very good. Even though your name is being called, we just ask that you say your name again when you get to the podium. And just know, we will not comment after you speak. That doesn't reflect our opinion or feelings with respect to that matter.
Good morning. My name is Jan Barton. I live in Marietta. I am here today as a concerned taxpayer who has reminded the board multiple times about the correct way to spend SPLOST funds, particularly excess SPLOST funds. The MDJ article of April 30th quoted Chairwoman Lisa Cupid saying how excess SPLOST funds would be spent. One of the ways was to give county employees a 3% pay raise. Another way to spend excess funds was to spend them toward capital maintenance. Please see the MDJ article, which covered the Georgia Attorney General's guidance on excess funds. I've sent that to you previously. I can send it at the end of this session also. Page 27 of the ACCG guide covers the process for excess funds. Excess proceeds are those proceeds of a SPLOST that remain after all approved SPLOST projects listed on the ballot have been completed. All projects have not been completed. I urge the county attorney to take a look at the ACCG SPLOST guide and Georgia Code and to advise the commissioners on what are legal and illegal expenditures. Page 15 of the ACCG SPLOST guide states, SPLOST proceeds can only be used to fund capital outlay projects. With some exceptions, SPLOST proceeds may not be used for maintenance and operation costs related to the proposed SPLOST projects or any previously approved projects. The primary intent behind SPLOST is to pay for specifically enumerated projects, not to balance the government's books or to pay for other governmental expenses. Also stated in the guide, where a county or municipality pays employee salaries and benefits out of their SPLOST account, good accounting records should be kept to demonstrate a portion of the employee's compensation paid with SPLOST proceeds is attributable to eligible SPLOST projects. I wrote an email to the commissioners and Dr. McMorris on March the 8th. That was 2 months ago. And it was titled, This Week's Agenda Items. Dr. McMorris replied by saying, that said, give us a bit of grace in responding, and I assure you we'll get back to you. I'm not aware of any reply at this point in time and would really appreciate one. Also in that email, I asked for a status on very serious concerns raised by the county's own internal audit regarding excess funds. I have not, to my knowledge, received a response to those concerns. In closing, I will also mention the county's mask mandates. I'm disappointed to see that we're still requesting masks when we know now that we've gone through COVID for over a year and studies have indicated masks, for the most part, do not stop a virus. That's like expecting a chain link fence to stop a mosquito. And so I'm encouraging all of you to lift those mandates. The governor has lifted mandates. Thanks for your time. I will send this to you by email.
Jessica Gill.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson Cupid, Commissioners, and County Manager Dr. McMorris.
My name is Jessica Gill, and I am the Executive Director and CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Northwest Metro Atlanta. I'm here today to share with you that we just had 3 single mothers, go ahead, next slide, move into their very first home and spend their Mother's Day this past weekend. These women worked really hard. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because these women are just 3 of thousands of families in this community who do not have attainable housing. The attainable housing problem is huge, but there are solutions, and Habitat is here to help you solve them. Next slide. The median sales price of a home in April of 2021 in Cobb County was $345,000. That's an increase from last year in April of 2020. It was at $300,000. To qualify for a Federal Housing Authority home loan of $345,000, your income has to be $72,000. Next slide. If you look at single-parent households, the median income for a single mom is $49,000, and for a single dad, it's $58,000. So that sets the stage for anyone making less than $72,000. They're not going to qualify for a Federal Housing Authority loan, which means they're not going to be able to buy a home unless they do it through an organization like Habitat. Everybody is renting. Next slide. There's 95,000 renter-occupied housing units in Cobb. And 46% of these renters are cost-burdened. Go ahead, next slide. The definition of cost burden is paying 30% or more on housing costs, and in which some cases they are choosing between groceries, medications, or transportation. Forget about trying to pay for a down payment on a home. It's all happening in the lower income range. And also, when you're a renter, next slide, you're more likely to not be white. 23% of white individuals are renters, Latinos are 50%, and 55% are blacks. So we have a huge disparity. Next slide. Homeownership rates are at 42% compared to white individuals. So how do we solve these problems? Habitat works. Why does Habitat work? The houses are attainable and total cost appraising anywhere from $135,000 to $170,000. There's a small caveat, and that caveat is we can only build them in South Cobb because that is the only place we can afford to purchase the land. The market has pushed Habitat out of every other jurisdiction. Development costs have skyrocketed, as have materials, but the use of volunteers helps to keep our price down. Next slide. We provide individuals with 0 interest loans. That doesn't happen anywhere else. Homeowners are not on welfare. They are not given homes. This is a hand up, not a hand out. I'm a single mom, and this is very similar to the hand up my father helped me with when I purchased my first home. These individuals are vetted through the Fair Housing Act laws. They must have a job, live or work in Cobb County, and have a credit score of higher than 500. They have to have less than $250 in collections. They must also show a demonstrated need. They have to be between 30 and 80% of the area median income. And they have to believe in the mission to give back. In order to own a Habitat home, a future homeowner must commit 300 hours of sweat equity in building their own home, building another person's home, and then taking part in financial and homeownership classes. Next slide. The 3 women that I showed you the pictures of earlier, their average income is $32,248 a year. Between them, they have 6 children. Now their mortgage payment is $673. They were paying over $1,200 a month in rent. So what I'm here to ask you today, commissioners, is how are you going to help us address attainable housing? We're here to work with you on solutions. Next slide. And I want, 2 slides, sorry. Next one. I just want to show you that this is a slide from 1998 where the Cobb County employees helped to build a house. So we can do it. We've done it before. Thank you for your time.
Christina Rosman.
Good morning. I'm Christine Rosman.
Thank you, Chairman Cupid and commissioners. I wanted to kind of piggyback on what Jan Barton had to say about spending. And it's not just SPLOST money, and I don't know where the money comes from. She's more astute on it, I'm not. But I do know that Cobb County employees have been getting a 3% increase for a very long time. I think it may have started with Mike Boyce. And the last time I was here, I said, please make decisions based on what your constituents who voted you in, that it reflected their reality of their world. My good friend not only got a 15% salary decrease, but then also lost her job. And you guys are getting salary increases. That does not reflect what is happening in Cobb County and what's happening to your citizens. And plus, I think, if I understand the SPLOST correctly, there's state statutes of how you can spend that money. You're not at liberty to spend it any way that you prefer to spend it. So basically, that would be, I think, fall under the lines of being illegal if you're spending money in a way that you're not supposed to and you know that you're not supposed to. And I think that a lot of these things, I think as Americans, as Cobb County citizens, we're seeing so many bizarre things happening in government. And it's because we tend to not speak up and not say, hey, like, where are you guys being accountable? Let's be accountable with we the people. We the people are the ones that are paying your salaries, that are paying for all of these projects that are going on. I mean, you took an oath to be good stewards of the monies that you collect from us. And it started off with Tim Lee not being able to negotiate, and negotiated something that the taxpayers of Georgia, or I'm sorry, of Cobb County, will be paying for a very, very long time. And then Mike Boyce doing, 3% pay raise. You just keep spending our money. And I think that you're going to find that it's like you're finding it in other cities, other counties across the country where the taxpayers are saying enough's enough. You're not representing us. And just because a lot of people didn't show up today doesn't mean a lot of people aren't going to be showing up in the near future, especially when you can't even find gas like in some places right now because the gas prices are going up. I just want to say I appreciate you keeping in mind what we want. I appreciate that Commissioner Cupid, Chairman Cupid, that you are going to be doing an event next Tuesday to talk about the voter fraud and election integrity and all that. I think that is critical, and I know that got a lot of people's attention. I know that my husband and I were monitors, we were observers. That has gotten the attention of people, and especially when we see what's happening in Maricopa County and what's happened with the Dominion machines, and that's what we use. So we really look forward to attending that next Tuesday at the Cobb Civic Center, Tuesday night, I think at 7 o'clock. So thank you for your time.
Leroy Empkin.
My name is Leroy Empkin, and I live in Marietta, Cobb County. I'm here to express my objection to this repeated presentations by the health board about what's going on in this county with respect to COVID. I see this as a perpetuation of fear and panic among the public, and especially among our young children. I was happy to hear that the group that represent mental conditions in this county recognize a growing mental problem, especially among our children. Dr. Ben Carson recently, former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, made some statements regarding the wearing of masks by our young children in schools. They are being denied the opportunity to learn how to interact with other children and other people who are wearing masks, and they never learn how to interpret our face gestures, our body language, our face language. They're being denied that opportunity. This is going to cause a serious problem among our young children, as stated by Dr. Ben Carson, internationally renowned neurosurgeon. We all know who Ben Carson is. I have a reasonable educational background, 2 degrees from Georgia Tech, my last degree from IT at the PhD level in structural engineering. I haven't heard the health department's presentations at these Board of Commissioner meetings talking about the hundreds of thousands of deaths that have occurred over the last many, many decades due to annual flu. Why? Follow the money. There is no financial benefit in reporting a death due to flu, but there is financial rewards for reporting a death due to COVID. Why haven't we heard any statistics about deaths due to flu when for the last several, perhaps the last 100 years or more, every single year, hundreds of thousands of people die from the flu? COVID is just another form of the flu. The realities are a very small percentage of deaths are being caused by COVID. The others are being caused by flu. Flu hasn't gone away. Many of us have taken the flu vaccine, the standard flu vaccine. Wearing of masks? Are we serious about this? I was at a drugstore the other day, and I saw the plastic shields hanging for sale. While I was waiting for my prescription to be filled, I looked at the small print on these plastic shields. You know what it said? This plastic shield is not intended to prevent the distribution or passage of any disease whatsoever. I then decided to look at boxes of masks that many of us are wearing today. Read the fine details on the box, or go online and look for an advertisement about a mask. And you will read in the details, the fine print, these masks are not intended to prevent the distribution of any disease whatsoever. A beautiful example is on an airplane. We're required to wear a mask on an airplane. 45 minutes after the flight takes off, food is served, beverages are served, all masks come off. For the 45 minutes to an hour that people are consuming food and drinks. And then they're required to put masks back on? Oh, I see. During those 45 minutes, no COVID particles are floating around in the air on the airplane. But after the food is consumed,
Mr.
you better,
Sorry, your time has
time's up.
run.
you get the idea? We're perpetuating
Thank you, sir.
Cynthia Johnson.
fear and panic. Totally unnecessary. Take your mask off.
Sir, I'm sorry, it's out of order, please. We have our next speaker up.
Where's the clock at? I'm gonna make sure I watch it. Hello, everyone. Chairman Cupid. My name is Cynthia. I'm here from Austell in Cobb County. The young lady just threw me off from Habitat Humanity because she gave me hope, and I hope that you guys listen to her. I think that we do need more options. Another option as well is we know that Marietta Housing Authority has the capability of opening up their housing program to allow tenants that are not able to, just period, I was going to say not able to find homes can explore that option. So I think that would be a good way to open up that. I want to also say the pandemic has really uncovered the need to look at the imbalance when it comes to landlord and tenants. All of us go back, it all goes back to us really affirming housing as an equal right and not just a random community. It's crucial the Cobb commissioners and the citizens of Cobb begin to discuss ways to deal with the crisis. We must begin to implement ordinance, policies, and administrative plans to help permanently deal with the housing crisis. We must begin to look at what other elected officials and appointed leaders are doing in their communities. For example, as I mentioned before, Atlanta and New York prohibit owners from refusing to accept vouchers. It's crucial that losing these vouchers due to the inability to find suitable housing because unused vouchers expire in 120 days without an extension or a rejection in a significant setback in trying to find a housing apartment, which is very difficult in an expensive market. Our goal here is simple. It's just to get real estate companies to abandon their discriminatory practices. They are all gatekeepers of housing and get to decide where families live, where they work, where children go to school. Housing discrimination goes beyond housing. We must also increase the payment standard to meet the needs of people. Several weeks ago, Commissioner Sheffield asked a well-known developer to the commissioners, will his company be accepting vouchers in his new property in Mableton? He replied, no, because the housing authority will not pay market rent. As you're aware, I'm exercising my right to challenge the illegal eviction that I received in January 2021. While waiting on my day in court, I've been desperately searching for housing without any luck. I know I have less than 4 days to find a place or I would lose my voucher. I have excellent credit, no evictions, no lease violations, no bankruptcy, or anything that would disqualify us. I keep getting denied simply because our voucher does not pay market rent. I have a letter to show I've been working with housing specialists and several case managers from Cobb County Community Service Board for several months. However, they have been able to find anyone to accept the vouchers. Many families living with vouchers are facing the same issue. For instance, Zero Apartments once accepted vouchers. However, they have decided to opt out of the program several months ago. And in doing so, the owner is not accepting new vouchers and they are not renewing the current leases with vouchers. Some of those families residing in the complex have already received notices to be out of their homes by the end of May. Like myself, these families have desperately searched for new homes, yet they're unable to find homes because of the payment standard. I have the opportunity to speak with several property owners and managers. In doing so, I was informed that many property owners that once accepted vouchers say they're no longer accepting vouchers because they want market rent. Last Friday, I spoke to a leasing agent at Burke Landing in Austell. According to the agent, the owner is not accepting vouchers for Marietta or Douglas at this time because the units have been renovated and they want market rent, whereas they still accepting vouchers from Atlanta at their other properties. Why? Because Atlanta prohibits owners from denying renters with vouchers. In fact, several council members said it was discrimination based off someone's source of income. I'm hoping that you will grant another extension for these families and myself. The citizens of Cobb will be also hoping and expecting the board will address these rental issues so that families will begin to thrive again in Cobb. We appreciate your time and we look forward to your responses. All we're asking for is you guys to look at other options. We know the resources are going to be depleted very soon, so it's imperative that we look now. What can we do now? We don't want them to look at our board later on and say that we failed our people in Cobb County. We depend on you. We supported you. We believe in you. We know you can do this. We just need you to explore other options. We received a resource letter, and that is great, but on the back cover, you look at it, it says to further assist the Section 8 properties in the area that Atlanta Housing Authority can provide you with a full listing of apartments. We need that in Cobb County.
Johnson.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Johnson.
you.
Yeah.
Monica Delancey.
Monica Delancey, Riverside Community. I want to first thank Ms. Gill from the Habitat for Humanity for that excellent presentation about housing options for home ownership. And that was an excellent presentation. I want to thank her for that. I want to start with discussing about the roundtable discussion that was held by Commissioner Sheffield about development that is hoping to develop a property in the Floyd, Nickajack area in Mapleton. Some takeaway notes from that is that this is the second multi-apartment that's being built in the area. The first was the Edie over by the Chattahoochee, and now this one, that's the price points that are starting over $1,400 a month, and with all the bells and whistles. I mean, they're gonna have a new washer and dryer, microwave, new appliances, brand new. So if developers can receive funding for development with price points for units over $1,400, why can't there be funding for development with lower price points? Right now, the only options a person has are older apartments that are charging over $1,000 a month with no amenities, and some of those apartments are not even taking Section 8 vouchers. Now, this brings me to last week, on Thursday, May 6th, which was the National Day of Prayer. A number of Cobb elected officials started that morning attending church, praying, as well as in person and also virtual. And they was able to reflect. A day of reflection. But on that same day, a family of 6 was evicted from their home. A mother and her disabled husband, her school-aged children, and a newborn baby was evicted out of their Viners home at 4 p.m. At that time, it was an afternoon, so Must Ministries was closed. It was a challenge locating a U-Haul truck because it was the end of the day, and also storage units were closed. We made a plea to Cobb County Commissioner's Office. We sent emails. And also we sent emails to Must Ministries. No one contacted this lady back. So we were able to get money for her to feed the family and also a hotel stay for her for that evening. No one contacted this family back until the next day, Friday morning. Thank you for contacting her back, Commissioner Richardson's office did. And they said that she would be receiving assistance, which is a hotel stay, and some other things that Must Ministries could work on. But what we're asking is that if there's going to be evictions done in the afternoon, there needs to be a live resource guide provided. I'm talking about each zone, each district should have lists of social workers. Say, okay, if your child goes to school, contact the social worker, right? There should be a working number provided so that person can get some type of housing for that evening, all right? In your district, you have great relationships. You can talk with the churches and say, okay, we know that evictions for multi-housing takes place on Thursdays. So you rotate pretty much an on-call church that's available on that day. So they can provide maybe a truck, or maybe they know of a storage unit that has late hours, okay? Now, I know people, you know, commissioners, you slept well that night. You prayed that morning, you went home to your bed. But I could not go to sleep that night until I made sure this family was housed, and thankfully she was, like I said, through the donations. But I would like for you a solution to have a live resource guide so that it can be beneficial, because evictions are going to be more and more as this rental assistance run out. And I also want to add that we are looking forward to meeting with Judge Murphy on Friday morning to discuss the eviction process and solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, that concludes the first section of this public speaking.
Thank you. We will now move to our consent agenda. The consent items were scrolling on the screen before the meeting. If you're at home, it's been scrolling by TV, or if you're online, scrolling there as well. So we will not read through those items. There was some minor change to agenda item number 14. Commissioners should have that in front of them. With that, I will move that we approve the agenda items on the consent agenda as revised and authorize execution of the necessary documents by the appropriate county personnel. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of passing the consent agenda, please raise your hand. The agenda passes 5-0. Thank you. We will now move to the BOC tab, and we have an item that will be presented by our county manager.
Good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, and all of you who are in attendance. Thank you for being here today.
Good morning.
It is with great pleasure, and I'm pleased to present the recommendation of our new Emergency 911 Director, Ms. Melissa Alterio. If you would come on up, I would like to introduce you to not only our board, but to our citizens here of Cobb. Melissa is joining us with over 30 years of experience in the emergency communications arena. She is coming to us, if you don't mind standing there, she's coming to us from the city of Roswell. She's been there since 2015. We're excited to have her today. Ms. Melissa has a master's degree in criminal justice and public safety leadership, a master's from, as I said before, she has a master's degree from Mercer in that area, and she also has a bachelor's degree from Marist in integrative studies. She brings to us a wealth of education, leadership, passion, compassion, and we are excited to have her. So it is with pleasure today, Chairwoman Cupid and the board, that I ask you to support me in appointing Ms. Melissa Alterio as our new Emergency Communications Director, and I ask you all to give her a warm Cobb County welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. We appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Did I make a motion? I should make, we're just introducing her, but there's so much confidence that we are going to move forward with this motion and have you here. So that applause certainly due. But with that, I move that we appoint Melissa Alterio to the Emergency Communications Director position.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Welcome to Cobb County. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, we are going to move to our DOT agenda tab.
All right.
Yes, and get comfortable. We have a number of transportation items moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Director.
Thank you for your patience this morning.
No problem at all. Thank you for your diligence in getting these before us.
Yes, ma'am. So our first item for consideration is requesting that the Board of Commissioners ratify previous actions by the county manager approving an agreement for stormwater facility repairs with the Marietta Physicians LLC and executing the necessary documents for emergency drainage repairs on Old Town Parkway, authorize the acceptance of their financial contribution in the amount of $85,879.47 towards said repairs, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute those necessary documents as may be required.
Commissioner Richardson.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Our second item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners ratify previous action by the county manager authorizing emergency repairs on Old Town Parkway, ratify previous actions by the county manager approving a contract agreement with Ardito Construction Company, Inc., and executing the necessary documents in the amount of $685,879.47 to include contingency funding not to exceed $14,120.53, if needed, for said repairs, authorize the corresponding budget transfers, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents as may be required.
Commissioner Richardson.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a resurfacing contract 2021-2 Local Road South with Bartow Paving Company, Inc., in an amount not to exceed $4,210,811.84 for resurfacing of county-maintained streets, authorize those corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with SDNC Inc. in an amount not to exceed $2,379,261.30 for roadway improvements on Sandtown Road, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners authorize for and conduct of a public hearing prior to expending $100,000 or more for transportation planning services for Cobb Parkway at Windy Hill Road grade separation, Austell Powder Springs Trail, and Noonday Creek Trail extensions, and further authorize the issuance of requests for proposals to secure required services.
All right, Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a sub-grant agreement with the Atlanta Regional Commission for Regional Transportation Planning Study Program grant funding in an amount not to exceed $400,000 for a planning level scoping study for Cobb Parkway at Windy Hill Road grade separation, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
Motion to approve.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a sub-grant agreement with the Atlanta Regional Commission for Regional Planning Study Program grant funding in an amount not to exceed $300,000 for a planning level scoping study for the Austell Powder Springs Trail, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a sub-grant agreement with the Atlanta Regional Commission for Regional Transportation Planning Study Program grant funding in an amount not to exceed $300,000 for a planning level scoping study for Noonday Creek Trail extension, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with Butch Thompson Enterprises, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $96,886 for pedestrian improvements on Woodland Brook Drive, Pacey's Ferry Road, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, good. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the project number X2294 to the 2021 countywide unit price contract with Chatfield Contracting, Inc. Savings to the project in the amount of $2,000 for drainage system repairs on West Mill Drive. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the resurfacing contract 2020-1 countywide major thoroughfares local maintenance improvement grant with Baldwin Paving Company, Inc. A savings to the project in the amount of $1,272,925.16 for resurfacing of county-maintained streets, authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve change order number 1 final to the contract with C.W. Matthews Contracting Company, Inc., a savings to the project in the amount of $223,816.14 for intersection improvements on Lost Mountain Road at Midway Road, Mirror Lake Drive. Authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Yes. Commissioner Gambrill.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Hang on, 41. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. The next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution authorizing submission of a Surface Transportation Block Grant Program and Transportation Alternatives Program Grant Amendment application to the Federal Transit Administration in the amount not to exceed $2,177,185 for capital assistance for construction of Mableton Parkway pedestrian improvements Phase 1, authorized acceptance of allocated Surface Transportation Block Grant Program and Transportation Alternatives Program grant funding, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
So moved.
That's District 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Sheffield.
So moved.
Second, Commissioner Sheffield. Any discussion? That's right, we did modify that. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion carries 5-0.
It didn't.
Point of order.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Was everyone's hand not raised?
No.
Okay, we have 4 who were in support. Anyone in opposition? We have 1 in opposition. So the motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Gambrill in opposition.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve a contract with Chatfield Contracting, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $101,950 for drainage system repairs on Leafwood Drive, and authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Richardson.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is requesting that the Board of Commissioners determine that circumstances are such that it is necessary to proceed with condemnation proceedings by declaration of taking under OCGA 32-3-4, authorize the commencement of condemnation proceedings on 7 parcels on South Barrett Reliever Phase 3, adopt resolutions and orders in form substantially to the attached, and as approved by the County Attorney's Office, and further authorize the chairwoman to execute those necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, ma'am. And for our last item, we request that the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution authorizing submission of a Transportation Alternative Program Grant Amendment application to the Federal Transit Administration in an amount not to exceed $869,661 for capital assistance for construction of West Atlanta Street Trail, authorize the acceptance of allocated Transportation Alternative Program grant funding, and authorize the corresponding budget transactions, and further authorize the chairwoman or her designee to execute the necessary documents.
Commissioner Burrow.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Ma'am. Thank you.
All right, we are now at our Support Services tab, and we have one item presented by Scott Barfield.
All right, well, good morning, Chairwoman, Commissioners, County Manager. Property Manager's got one item. And it's the Board of Commissioners approved supplemental agreement number 1 to the contract with Garland DVS Incorporated in the amount of $25,806 for additional work related to the installation of the new roof and exterior wall restoration at Schweitzer Library of 2016 SPLOST Program X0510. Authorize the corresponding budget transaction and further authorize the chairwoman to execute the necessary documents.
All right, Commissioner Burrow.
Yes. If I may say a few words first. Thank you, Scott. We had some good news yesterday that Schweitzer will be opening the 1st of June, first part of
Correct.
June. So I know a lot of constituents have been asking when the renovations were going to be complete and when everything would open again. So I know this is just for the roof repair. So it's very exciting to know that Schweitzer, new and improved, is finally coming to an end. So with that, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Director.
Very good, thank you.
We are now to are at our second public comment. We still have 2 additional.
There's actually 3, Chairwoman now. The first speaker is John Wills.
Hello, I've never done this before. Can I just talk or can I also ask questions?
Pursuant to our rules, you can just talk.
Just talk,
Yeah,
okay.
it's not a back and forth between the board.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm grateful to be here. I think the comments earlier about mental health and children are really the reason I'm here. I'm concerned, again, with the health related to these masks and these rules. I'm also very concerned about I guess, what the Department of Health was sharing earlier about just the number of people that are getting the vaccine so quickly, and now it's being available to our children. And I'm asking you all as leaders to disclose the VAERS database, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. It's there, and we should be talking about it. It should be part of our public discussion. What's happening adversely with some people that are getting the vaccine. Everyone has the consent and the ability to make good decisions for themselves. I'm thinking about children right now. I'm also challenged with that chart she shared with the number of tests that go down in January 20th, because I'm wondering if she shares the CT value changes from the WHO. You know, the PCR test, they changed all of the rules on that. And so we saw a big decline in the test after January 20th, but she didn't mention the CT values changing, the cycle threshold with the PCR test. These are things that, as someone that lives here, we're looking to our leaders. We're not looking at the news anymore. The news is the legacy media. We're just not paying attention to. So we're paying very close attention to the information that we have and our leaders. So thank you for serving our community. But we're wondering, why is this continuing to go on? Did you know, like the governor of Florida is suing the CDC? It's affected everyone's livelihood in large ways. There's people here having trouble getting housing. But yet, we're spending all this money on testing and vaccines and marketing this thing, but yet we have people here that don't have housing. So there's a lot of ways we could be using our money and our resources, and to see how it's being used, it's concerning. The last thing I'll share is the next Tuesday, I guess there's an opportunity to hear more about the election in 2020. And I'm asking for an audit of our county. I believe that with my help and other people's help, we could fund an audit, citizens, so the county wouldn't have to pay for it. But it would be very, very helpful for confidence just among the electorate to know that there were no shenanigans, no corruption. But as it stands right now, there's a lot of reason to be concerned. We're paying attention to what's happening in Maricopa County. These are things that you can't just ignore them. So thank you for listening, and I'll continue to pray for you.
Courtney Omega.
Omega, the last, but I'm not the last, but Omega, thank you. I'm left-handed, so charge it to my head and not to my heart. Good morning and grand rising, commissioners, and of course to the attendance today. Next month marks 1 year of my residency here back in Georgia. Coming from Miami, I sat where you sit. I was the youngest elected council member in Coconut Grove, Miami, Florida, a position that I served with great humble humility and, honor. I decided to resign from my seat on the council to move back here to Georgia because at the start of COVID, which I appreciate the people that have spoke about COVID and how it has affected our communities. The way it was affecting me was as a single divorced mother of two, I was facing 2 months with no rent being able to be paid because I worked for a developer, and immediately when COVID happened, all jobs, all sites closed down. There was no moratorium at the time of the sites closing. So what we had was landlords that were aggressively asking for rent, with even knowing that we had not worked in 2 months. Reform was needed, but furthermore than reform, I needed to make sure that my children and I did not face an eviction, another eviction. I faced an eviction my first year on the council, and it was something that I promised that I would not allow my children to experience ever again in their lifetime. There's a lot of shame and embarrassment that goes into such a process and a procedure. And with making that pledge that I wouldn't allow my children to see it again, from being a public servant, even as I resigned from my position to move up here, I want to make sure that no family goes through that situation again. That no family, no child has to now tell people, I don't live in my same home. That no cats are lost because, or no pets are lost because of the fact that they're uprooted. And the pets don't want to leave their home. They don't understand what happens during eviction. So this brings me to today and why I am here. A couple of months ago, I met a wonderful woman that just exuded joy, exuded light, exuded energy positively. And immediately, because of the fact that I am helping to organize a great event coming up next Wednesday, Malcolm X's birthday, and we will be celebrating the fact that even though he has not a recognized holiday, we are encouraging that internationally he does. I was greeted with a call by a colleague that is working with this event with me that she was being evicted. She called on the National Day of Prayer, which also is my mother's birthday. So I didn't have my phone as I was spending time in prayer also, because my mother left this earth 24 years ago. My son brought me the phone. He said, Mom, this woman said she's being evicted. And I said, I can't help her personally, but I'm going to give her to Monica, because that's one call I know she needs to make. And that's what I did. But I'm here today to furthermore not plead, but demand. These conversations need to not just be had on the wings of an eviction. This needs to be aggressive legislation from you all, who are pledged to serve this community. This is not a social problem. This is not a class problem. This is a Black woman problem. This is a gender-specific, race-specific problem to us, regardless of our backgrounds, regardless of our educations, and regardless of our positions. Evictions haunt us. I ask you, I demand you, legislation now, eviction, not one more. Thank you.
Natasha Martin.
Hello, how you doing? I'm gonna try to get through this without crying. I already been doing it back there. The woman that they were talking about that got evicted is me. I've never been through an eviction a day in my life. This is the first time that I'm dealing with one. I went to go pick up my daughter. She just gave birth to this baby, at the time, only 2 weeks. I went to go pick her up to take her to a doctor's appointment, and I get a call from my son stating that the police came in with guns drawn and told them they had to leave. I've never been through an eviction, but I don't think you should draw guns at an eviction. That scared the mess out of my 18-year-old black son because of the way that things go down a lot of times when you see guns drawn on a black man. Then they proceeded to go over to my husband, who has had 5 strokes. He can't walk without assistance. And they told him to get up off the couch. My son had to tell them that he cannot walk. My husband ended up in the hospital with another stroke due to this situation. My kids and I had to be in a Motel A, and we're used to living at a certain standard. But due to my husband having these 5 strokes started December 2018, and he's to the point where he wears Depends and he has to be cleaned by somebody else. He's totally dependent. So I couldn't work as much. I'm trying to see what I can to do to get him into a home at this point because everything is on me and my children. But in the meanwhile, while I'm going through this and life is turned upside down, I come to find out that one of my neighbors actually gave a resource to the front office that if people are being evicted, that they can help with certain resources, but the front office did not do that. And I also sent them an email stating what is the full thing that's due. I'm gonna try to work on getting that down. They said they didn't want it. I've explained to them I have a crippled husband. They just wanted me out. And that's fine. What's not fine is pulling out a gun on my husband who can't walk and telling him to get up off the couch. And now I don't know what's gonna happen to my husband. The whole process was devastating. I'm still trying to process everything, and I still have to be strong enough to figure out what to do for my family. I gotta buy food every day. There's no microwave in that hotel. There's no whatever. I got the assistance, and I thank God that we got the week. I thank you for coming to my aid. I thank Monica for moving as quickly as she did. She moved with such urgency. But, sorry. What about the families that don't happen to have a friend that's an ex-chairwoman? I just happen to know who to call. But what if I didn't know who to call? What would have happened next? So I really, beyond what I'm going through, I am a poet, I am an activist, and I normally fight for other people. This is the first time that I have to stand and fight for myself and my family. So being up here, even though we're going through it, I'm still worried. If somebody else's husband is gonna be sitting on the couch and the police come in with guns drawn, and the next thing you know, you're sitting here wondering if your husband is gonna live or die. So I feel like something needs to be done because I personally am going through this. I'm not a soft person. I don't like to cry in public, so this is big for me. Nor do I like to disclose my own person. I'd much rather fight for somebody else. But I know I had to open my mouth because there are other people that are feeling what I'm feeling, going through what I'm going through, and still have to hold down a family full of children and hold her head up with integrity regardless of what I'm going through. So I'm asking for help for people like me because it's not fair that we have to go through it just because life has handed us a couple of things we weren't ready for. Before that, I was fine. So please, if y'all can help people like myself, I'd appreciate it.
Chairwoman, that's the final speaker of the second portion of the public comment.
Thank you. Before we move to our tab, why don't we take a break for 5 minutes, please? If we dressed, wanted to be comfortable in the situation. Tab, we have one appointment to approve the reappointment of Clark Hungerford to the Development Authority. And I will ask for a motion for this particular agenda item.
Motion to approve the reappointment of Clark Hungerford to the Development Authority.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Yes. Please go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay, on April 16th, I sent the chair an email asking for the process that I and the other board members should follow for submitting names for consideration, as the resolution passed did not address the process for posts 6 and 7. I was not provided a response. The chair sent an email on April 19th proposing Clark Hungerford. The county clerk, in a follow-up email, stated the chair asked we hold off adding additional nominations from myself and Commissioner Burrell until May, so the other two commissioners have an opportunity to nominate someone. It was then stated the clerk was going to add an agenda item under the chair's tab for consideration of all nominations for the expired BOC post. The agenda item for consideration does not contain all of the names submitted. Yesterday, the chair stated that I was familiar with the board appointment process and should have known what to do. The chair is correct. I have been a voting member on agenda items for appointments that require Board of Commissioner approval. What the chair fails to concede is that we have policy and procedures that address appointments that require vote by the Board of Commissioners. But there is nothing in the Board of Commissioners bylaws as to how names are to be submitted and evaluated for these two post positions. The clerk provided this clarification, yet the chair chose to eliminate other nominations. Rather than follow the past paradigm for how the board made appointments to the Development Authority and has followed for the last 40 years, the chair has chosen to create her own appointment rules without seeking the board's approval on the new selection process. In my view, this is contrary to sound governance and the democratic process.
Thank you, Commissioner. Since being on this board, I have been proactively working to engage all of our commissioners more than I have ever seen of any prior chair. And I have done that because the participation of every commissioner, to me, is important to the proper function of this government. The engagement of our citizens is important to the health of our county. Therefore, I strongly disagree with the characterization provided by the commissioner. The reason we are here today contemplating this board appointee in this manner is because we modified the process to ensure all commissioners have the ability to appoint someone to the board in a way that is equitable, meaning that each commissioner each has one appointee to the Development Authority, and that the Board of Commissioners will share remaining two appointments. This is something that we have been discussing for months as a board. This is something that we have agreed upon as a board. And in fact, when we had a work session on this matter, the only commissioner complaining is the one that did not address this during the work session. When we have put forward the process with respect to commissioners via email, commissioners were asked to please ensure that if they wanted someone to be considered, to make sure that they communicate with all commissioners. This would help me to ensure that the person who is being put forward has the consensus of support from other commissioners. This is done in a way to be fair to all commissioners. I believe this was understood by commissioners. If there was any question, it takes communication. It is very frustrating when we have more communication on a dais about disagreement, but there's no communication that occurs before the meeting to just pick up a phone, send an email. When Commissioner Gambrill did send an email, there was a response back to the entire commission to clarify a process. I did hear back from commissioners who had questions. I didn't hear back from Commissioner Gambrill that there was a particular issue. I am not opposed to being able to consider various viewpoints. I'm not opposed to all commissioners being able to have the opportunity to communicate their concerns. But it is getting tiring to continue to come to this dais and to have more dialogue with the commissioner who spends her energy up here instead of just picking up the phone and reaching out to colleagues as we should be doing as elected members of the body that runs a county that has close to 800,000 residents. I don't want to have to continue to express viewpoints like this, but I have got to believe that there are more constructive ways for us to be able to address our differences. What I will say here today is that the process about this has been made clear in meetings and in emails about how this particular appointment will occur. I have no qualms about supporting the motion that has been put forward today. I would ask commissioners to please in the future when we have BOC appointments for any board, not just for the Development Authority, to please follow the process which we have followed prior to this year of me becoming chair, but which we follow for any appointment for the BOC, which is for us to confer with each other and for the chair to put forward that name for the agenda. Not once since I have been here, other than for the nuanced process of the hospital authorities, have there been multiple names submitted for something or for someone to be appointed. That has not been the process for BOC appointments, as Commissioner Gambrill has served for 2 years. That's not going to be the process moving forward. The process will be that the commissioners please make sure they confer with one another, make sure they get consents from each other, and provide that feedback so I can submit one name for our agenda so that we do not continue to sit here and debate things which should not be debatable about us moving forward the business of this county. So with that, there is a motion on the floor. There's a second. If there is not further discussion, we will go ahead and I will call a motion for this motion for the appointment of Clark Hungerford. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. The motion carries 4-1 with Commissioner Gambrill in opposition. We will move to the next tab, which is for commissioner comments. And we will start with Commissioner Gambrill.
Thank you, and congratulations to the Cobb County Fleet Management. The 100 Best Fleets in the Americas program recognizes peak performing fleet operations. This program identifies and encourages the ever-increasing levels of performance improvement and innovation within the public fleet industry. This year, Cobb County ranked 39th for 2021 out of the 100 best fleets in North America. Congratulations to Director Al Curtis and his staff. Join us on Saturday, May 22nd for the Georgia Steeplechase. This will be held at the Foxhall site, and you can learn more about the Georgia Steeplechase at georgiasteeplechase.org. Come and enjoy us for an event outdoors, and they have a lot of other exhibits that will be there as well. Thank you. So the Library Foundations in March held a readathon and raised $1,213. A total of 9 guest readers participated in this fundraiser. And first place ended up going to Splash. Second place was Commissioner Burrell, and third place was Mark Justice of Cobb EMC. Thank you to all those who participated in this fundraiser for the Library Foundation. Our town hall. We're going to have join us at a town hall at Lost Mountain Park on May 20th. This will be a Thursday. We're going to do the presentation on our large LED screen that the county has purchased to discuss roads and parks. The town hall will be from 6 to 8 p.m. at 4845 Dallas Highway. And again, we will be outdoors, so please bring your chairs and be ready to participate in a conversation with Cobb DOT, Keep Cobb Beautiful, and our Parks Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll go on to Commissioner Richardson.
All right, from the office. Just a recap of last week a little bit. We've had a gun safety community chat, and last night we had an animal services chat. Thanks for joining, Commissioner Burrow. We also had several members from county staff for the gun safety and animal services chat, and really appreciate all the input from the community. Looking forward to the part twos of those conversations and really just charting a pathway forward so that we can all build a bigger vision for what Cobb County is going to do, but Cobb County and the community together, what we'll be able to accomplish. Campbell High School, got a chance to speak to some of our wonderful students there. They had some very incredible, courageous questions that they asked, and just wanted to say thank you again for letting me speak to your students. McFarland Nature Park Tour, a little slice of heaven, just wanted to share. Got a chance to tour that park in the district, and it is absolutely fantastic, and encourage members of the community to continue to support them. They are a private park, but it is something very, very nice for the community. And then Silver Comet Trail Tour, had a chance to really just get see what the vision is up to Plant Atkinson Road. There's between the East Cobb, East-West Connector and Plant Atkinson, very exciting stuff, and lots of different benefits that will come to the community from that. So that is everything from last week. And then coming up, stormwater management community chat, because we can't have too many chats. And this is a topic that's near and dear to many of our residents, and looking forward to having this conversation with members of our county staff, members of the community, and we'll be discussing a range of issues that fall under stormwater and some of the initiatives that may be able to come about for the future. Community updates. So yes, it is Mobility May. That's at least what we're calling it, with several town halls and virtual and in person, with DOT and my office as well, and really just partnering to make sure that your opinions are part of the conversation. So this QR code takes you to the website, allows you to register for some of the upcoming virtual meetings. We've got Tuesday, May 11th, that is today. Yep. That's today, this evening. Got Saturday, May 15th, and Wednesday, May 19th. So those are the ones that are in person. As for the ones that I'll be hosting as well on the side, that the in-person work sessions, you'll see those listed soon, and we'll make an announcement at that point. But definitely take the screenshot, take the survey, get involved. We're talking major capital investment. We need your opinions. That is what fuels this. We cannot do this without your voice. Ready, set, grow. You're invited to join plant and garden enthusiasts at the Ready, Set, Grow Plant Exchange on Saturday, May 15th. Meet and mingle with other plant and garden lovers, talk with experts, and bring home a few new plants for your garden. The event will be held from 2 to 6 at 30 Geraldine Drive, Southeast Smyrna. Bring a healthy, pest-free plant, or a few, to exchange for a new one brought by another fellow gardener. Plants can be brought in pots, bags, or boxes. Just willing to part with the plant and the container that it's in. This event is sponsored by Nextdoor Plant and Garden Enthusiasts in the spirit of community sharing and having fun with other area plant and garden lovers. How cute. Emergency broadband benefit. So if you need assistance with internet or device billing, the FCC Emergency Broadband Benefit can help. The enrollment for the Emergency Broadband Assistance Program begins Tuesday, May 12th. It's probably tomorrow. It's today, if it's Tuesday. It's either today or tomorrow. There are $3.2 billion funds being allocated to this program to help our communities. And you can visit the link that shows up on this QR code or call 833-511-0311 for more information. And that concludes my announcements.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burrow.
Okay, you've heard about our Cobb Forward and our comprehensive transportation plan underway with the virtual meetings and town halls. So the District 3 Town Hall meeting will be held tomorrow, May 12th, from 6 to 7:30 in person at the Cobb County Civic Center. And you can learn how to get involved in planning our transportation system, weighing in on how the county invests in transportation in your community, how to report issues directly to DOT staff, and learning about DOT projects and construction in your district. Next slide. And this is the virtual meetings, May 11th tonight, May 15th, and May 19th. If you go to cobbforward.org, all this information is online. My favorite part. We had 2 more adoptions in our Superior Pets for Patriotic Vets program. Mr. Luke Brackett of the U.S. Air Force adopted this beautiful black cat, and Mr. Rob Doherty, U.S. Marines, adopted a brindle and white Stafford. This brings us up to 189 adoptions. And we couldn't do this without the generosity of Superior Plumbing for their donations to fund 200 adoptions, and there'll be more when we reach that 200 mark. And also our Cobb County Animal Services Director and staff for assisting with this program, and you just can't beat the deal at the animal shelter for adoptions. These are giving our veterans a forever friend. So visit Cobb County Animal Services, complete the form, and meet your new best friend, dogs or cats, to veterans. The next How to Do Business with Cobb County Government and Parks Department staff will host this webinar at noon on Wednesday, May 19th. This month's free information session will highlight the Parks Department and the type of business opportunities for bid. Registration is required, and you can go to cobbcounty.org/doing-business for more information and to register. The Northeast Cobb Business Association sixth annual 5K9 race will be held on Saturday, June 12th at Piedmont Church on Piedmont Road. And you can register to run or walk. You can register to be a sponsor, and you can bring your dogs. There will be vendors there. So I hope to see Splash at this. Nope, she's not coming. Oh, well. But we encourage you to participate in this worthy cause. The money that is raised for this will be, a service dog will be purchased for a student with autism at Mountain View Elementary School. And also, I'd like to congratulate Crofton Associates. They were named the 2021 Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year, yesterday at Marquee Monday, the Cobb Chamber annual event. And Crofton Associates were founded in 2004. They were chosen as the top business from a list of 30 finalists across the county. And some of their notable local projects include the renovation of the Cobb County Civic Center, the construction of the Ackworth Community Center, the Kennesaw Math and Science Academy, and they also did the design of the Cobb Veterans Memorial. And so we're very proud of our Kennesaw-based business, Croft and Associates. And then, as always, sign up for our newsletters, cobbcounty.org/Burl for mine, for District 3. They go out every Thursday, and they have a lot of information on DOT projects, events going on in the district and in the county, and our public meetings to participate in. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sheffield.
Save the date. Join me on Wednesday, May 19th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. for our community town hall meeting. It is a collaboration to work together with purpose with Cobb and Douglas Public Health and Cobb DOT. Cobb Douglas Health will be on site for an information session and will also administer the vaccine during the meeting. You must register in advance to receive the vaccination. Please email deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the registration link. Cobb DOT will also join us to provide the Cobb Forward Transportation presentation regarding the 2022 Mobility SPLOST. Again, the town hall will be a hybrid in-person and virtual meeting. Please contact deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the meeting link. May is Foster Care Awareness Month. Congratulations to State Representative Erica Thomas for her recent recognition of her tireless work with Camp Horizon Foster Care Agency. She was honored by local artists with this beautiful mural. That's her on the top right. As many already know, Representative Thomas was also a foster child and is very passionate about her involvement and commitment to children in foster care. Congratulations again to Representative Thomas. Next slide. Board appointments. There is no better time than now to step up and serve your community. District 4 has a couple of board appointments that will help round out our magnificent team. The available appointments are for Heating and Air Condition Advisory Board and Keep Cobb Beautiful. Please contact deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the application link. WorkSource Cobb is one of the county's greatest resources to provide access to a system of employment and education services to the community. The organization offers a wide variety of services to job seekers for free. Mark your calendars for May 18th at 11 a.m. for an Introduction to WorkSource Cobb webinar to help you on a career path. Please call 770-528-4300 or email information@cobbworks.org to register and receive the webinar login information. We are making our way through the pandemic and we're getting back to some sense of normalcy, and companies are hiring and eager to get people's lives back on track. Next slide. A collaboration of local police precinct and community leaders of the Cobb County Precinct 2 in South Cobb is hosting a community virtual forum on May 20th at 7 p.m. The purpose of the forum, titled Blue Talk, is to begin a dialogue to enhance mutual trust, understanding, and respect between police and community residents. Topics will include a discussion of the forum's purpose, community relations among stakeholders, the perception versus reality of crime, the work of the gang unit in community affairs, and so much more. You must register for the event in advance. Please send an email to chair@mableton.org by May 18th at 5 p.m. Next slide. In the zone, it is encouraging to witness so many residents engaging in the zoning process and sharing their concerns regarding development in the district. Your participation in the process is appreciated. Our May's in the Zone meeting will be scheduled for the fourth Thursday instead of the fourth Wednesday this month on May 27th at 7 p.m. Please email deidre.watts@cobbcounty.org for the meeting link. Next slide. Galt Porter. I just want to say thank you to Galt Porter. He served as the District 4 appointee and chairman of the Planning Commissioner, and he resigned. His last attended Planning Commission hearing was on May 4th. Galt served on the Planning Commission for 8 years and was appointed by then Commissioner Cupid. He was reappointed at the start of my term to serve District 4, which has been done with care, concern, and love for his community. Galt was a tremendous wealth of knowledge. He worked tirelessly behind the scenes to visit sites, meet with applicants, co-host monthly zoning meetings with then Commissioner Cupid, and with me at our monthly In the Zone meetings. He always made himself available to whoever needed his help, and he has been a huge asset to District 4. And on behalf of District 4, Galt, I thank you for all of your work and dedication to our community. You will be missed. I will share information regarding our new planning commissioner in the coming weeks once details have been finalized. But you can learn more by signing up for my newsletter at cobbcounty.org for the latest information on our PC or planning commissioner appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. All righty. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. So just a reminder of our goals for the year is to address COVID response and recovery, transportation, housing, social justice, policing, and equity, and finally, elections. You can go to the next slide. So with that, to showcase our priority in addressing the pandemic, every BOC meeting, we have an update with respect to COVID. As you heard today, our rates are going down. However, we still are not at 100 cases out of 100,000 persons. So this is why we are still taking precautions. Because over 100 cases is considered a high transmission rate. But as you can see, our daily confirmed cases continue to go down, and we hope as people get vaccinated that that will certainly be the case. You can go to the next slide. Transportation is another priority. As you heard from the commissioners, we have a number of transportation meetings going on throughout the county, in person and virtually. During those meetings, we'll be able to update our transportation plan with your feedback. So I hope that you were able to get the dates that were provided by each commissioner and that you will attend because our ability to draw down federal funding is going to be based on the projects identified in the transportation plan. Go to the next slide. For our virtual meeting dates, they are listed here. Our first one is today at 5 p.m. online, and you can visit cobbcounty.org for more information. To be more accessible, we have one available Saturday morning as well, and also one during lunchtime. And the Saturday date is May 15th, and the lunchtime date is for Wednesday, May 19th. Oh, okay, and we have a list here. So if you didn't get the prior dates of each of the commissioners' town halls, you can jot the dates down here. The first commissioner to have one will be Commissioner Burrow, which will be tomorrow at 6 to 7:30, as she shared at the community or Cobb County Civic Center, followed by Commissioner Sheffield. Hers will be at the Public Safety Training Academy, again on May 19th. Commissioner Gamble will have one the day after on the 20th. At Lost Mountain Park. And wrapping things up will be Commissioner Richardson on May 27th at East Cobb Park. All right, with respect to housing, I did want to share some stats that I shared at the last meeting, and unfortunately we don't have a slide prepared for it, but the county has put aside $23 million to address the evictions crisis. And during the first 4 weeks, we were able to give out over $2.5 million at an average of $7,374 to each recipient. It is our goal to address as many people as possible through this funding. We know that in our desire to be sensitive to residents that have need, we also need to be sensitive to the requirements of the federal government to ensure there is no fraud. So the time that it takes to process this, unfortunately, doesn't allow us to just dole out the money immediately. But we encourage persons who do need assistance to please apply for our housing programs. If we go back to the next slide, we did hear, as one lady mentioned, about pets that get left behind. There's been an issue about pets getting left behind as people do leave housing. And so some people put together a nonprofit initiative to be able to provide a home for pets as people are changing their housing. And there's going to be a virtual open house with respect to that program on May 26th from 12 to 1 p.m. on Zoom. There's a link here to register, but if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll also be able to get that information. Let's see here. Okay. Policing and equity, we have a meeting with faith leaders that the police will have on May 18th from 10 to 12 p.m. at the County Police Academy. And I believe that's, there's another meeting going on that evening, but this one is for 10 a.m. and topics that will be discussed will be discussing challenges that have occurred over the past year, but what are also opportunities and resources for our faith leaders. And so encourage those, again, who are in our Hispanic community and of faith to please consider attending. All right, elections. We have a town hall about elections next week, Tuesday, May 18th, that will be held with our Director for Elections, Janine Eveler, and we'll review what happened last year where we had a record turnout of voters and also discuss our impact to the county as a result of Senate Bill 202. And that will be, again, next week, Tuesday, May 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. There are so many things to recognize during the month of May. Another opportunity we have is to recognize all of our employees who are in public works. May 16th through the 22nd is actually National Public Works Week. So I encourage you to thank your employees who are in water and transportation and those that are helping with our infrastructure, to thank them for their service to our county. Also, passing along thanks in service, Commissioner Gambrill has completed her core certification as part of the ACCG, which is the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia. For this program, you have to complete 9 courses at about 66 hours, and this is not an easy feat, particularly during a pandemic where they've had to transition from doing a lot of these in person to online. However, she was able to complete this certification, which means that she has taken time to educate herself about how to assist constituents and how to be knowledgeable about the basic tenets and aspects of local government. So we want to thank you for taking the initiative to do that, because we still have commissioners, some of which even have served long periods of time across our county, who have not received their core certification. I also want to thank someone else, and I want to say the cat was let out the bag, but that would not be appropriate for this commissioner, as she looked at the back of the room and saw her husband, Mr. Burrell, the first man of District 3. We want to make sure that we take time to recognize Commissioner Burrell for 10 years of service to Cobb County government. Yes, we can please. Commissioner Burrell has been a tireless advocate in representing her constituents at District 3, and she advocates for public safety and veterans diligently in our county, holding a number of events on their behalf. She's also helped to organize Keep It in Cobb and also how to do business with Cobb, so that we are making sure that our businesses have opportunity to do business with the county, but any business that wants to work with the county can learn about that because of her initiative. And actually, she shared today about an upcoming event that we have going on. What else has Commissioner Burrell done? She's just been an advocate and friend to so many of us here, and we thank you not only for serving your constituents, but serving alongside us on this board. I've been grateful for you. So to recognize your contribution, we have here Petty Officer Williams of the United States Navy Onboarder, who's here with Gunner to congratulate you for 10 years of service. And I believe his wife Alyssa is here. We also have Shauna Abbott, Brittany Jonke, and Giovanni Stalling from Animal Control to also help to recognize you and your service of 10 years. And again, how can we forget Dave Burrell, first man of District 3, here to help recognize his wife for her diligent service. Thank you, Commissioner.
I want to thank you. The staff from Animal Services, who adopt out these new best friends are here today. Thank you, Chairwoman. You're welcome. And that's amazing. Oh, okay, we have some.
All right, Commissioner, in recognition of your 10 years of avid service to Cobb County government, this is for you as well.
Well, thank you, everyone. It has been,
She wants you to move.
move where? Oh. I guess I should take off my mask.
Yeah.
Have you had your vaccine?
I have.
Okay, he's had his vaccine, I can take off my mask.
More pictures.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll get you next. You have 8 years, so 2 more years. Thank you. Everybody knows the canines and animal services are near and dear to my heart. And I can't thank you enough for surprising me today and having my biggest supporter here too. Thank you all. Thanks to staff for all you do to serve us. We couldn't do it without you. So God bless you. Thank you all.
Congratulations. You're welcome, Commissioner. Thank you so much for coming out here. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for your service. Go Navy.
And that concludes today's Board of Commissioners meeting. Thank you.